The mayor of Salem says emergency warming shelters are in jeopardy this year. This comes as less state funding is available to fund paid positions at those facilities. Katu's Megan Allison joins us live now outside the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency. And Megan, I know that there are plenty of homeless advocates you've been talking to in that area. What are they saying about this?
Well, Barry, staff here tell us they're lucky that shelters like this one opened in the last year, but they say most of the people who live on the streets of Salem rely on emergency shelters in the event of extreme weather. With no paid positions, there aren't any guarantees those will open in the event of a storm. The mayor of Salem tells us for the last 3 years, a combination of city and state funding paid for positions at warming shelters. With American Rescue Plan dollars running out and less funding from Oregon Housing and Community Services, that may not be possible this year.
We're 100% reliant on volunteers to sign up and to staff those warming sites, which can be precarious, and certainly we're not always able to staff sites on days when they're desperately needed.
Mayor Hoy and staff with the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency are currently working with the governor and OHCS to see if more funding is available.
There's just not a volunteer base out there to do this level of work with this capacity and this depth over a longer period of time as 90 days to get the work done. This has to be done with paid work.
Jimmy Jones says warming shelters are a vital tool during the winter season.
We're going to lose people. People are going to die of exposure. But even on nights when it's, in the upper 30s and the lower 40s, if it's wet, and those go on for a week or 2 or 3, people's chronic health conditions tend to grow much worse.
Hoy tells us despite more shelter beds coming online, demand is still ahead of supply when it comes to the level of people living on the streets of Salem.
It's increasing. I think we are having some great progress in terms of getting people housed, but the supply unfortunately continues. We see more and more people becoming homeless just due to the economy and other situations.
I also spoke with the director here and the mayor about the concerns of adding staff in the event of last-minute funding. I'll show you why they say the clock is running out, coming up tonight at 6. Staff with the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency tell us in the last year, several new shelters like this one opened doors to those in need. But they're continuing to see a growing number of people living on the streets, and that's a concern as the weather gets colder. The mayor of Salem says since 2020, the city relied on assistance from Oregon Housing and Community Services to fund positions for warming centers. This year, that funding is not available, and advocates are working with the governor to see if other options are a possibility. Without it, warming shelters can only open with volunteers.
We have more freezing rain, we have more freezing weather, snow, all sorts of different things that we have to be prepared for. And when you're living on the streets, even just if it's just really wet and very cold, that's a dangerous situation. We have people dying on our streets, and that's just not acceptable.
The director of the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency says if the state provides new revenue, the next concern is finding staff in time.
The clock is ticking. We are running out of time. What we see now is it normally takes about 60 days to stand up new work. And so this is late October, and if folks want these resources available, if they want shelter available by the end of December, even at this point, it's really critical to get these funds flowing now.
The mayor tells us he hopes to learn more about state funding options in the next few days. In Salem, Megan Allison, Katu News.